Hey ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is HD and I am bringing you guys the final set of games from the Assembly Winter ASUS Republic of Gamers tournament that occurred last weekend in Finland. I've already casted all of the round of 8 games except for this last final one, and if you guys haven't seen any of those games yet, I highly advise you guys to stop this video now, check them out before you watch this final round of 8, or you guys can watch this and then watch those later on, because I'm going to be doing the entire tournament all the way up to the grand finals. I'm doing a set a day, so tomorrow we begin the semi-finals. And if you guys are still watching this video, I guess you guys don't mind being spoiled. We already currently have Stefano, one European, and we also have Puma as well as Lucky, so 2 Koreans that have already qualified into the semifinals, all playing for 20 grand here, total prize pool. So this is the last match, and we're about to find out if Liquid.Hero or if TSL.Polt are going to be the next and final person actually to secure that last seed inside of the Assembly Winter ASUS ROG tournament. So this is going to be the last best of 3 from the round of 8. I hope you guys are excited, and the map is going to be Antigua Shipyard to start things off. Now, Liquid.Hero, part of Team Liquid, obviously, more of a successful Korean in the foreign events. Actually, he really didn't enjoy too much success inside of Korea. He's made a huge name for himself, however, outside of Korea, inside the international scene. And one of the tournaments that really come to mind is, of course, IPL3. He qualified for the actual tournament through one of the open qualifiers online, and he played spectacularly. I remember he played against Sleep in that final qualifier match and did very, very well. Speaking of IPL3, IPL4 will be coming around the block, and I will be casting that live. More info to come very soon, so I hope you guys stay tuned, and I hope I see you guys at that event. But anyways, getting back to this game, Liquid.Hero boasts a 60% win rate against Terran. It's actually his worst matchup, surprisingly, so you guys can imagine how good of a player he really has become. Now, his opponent is Polt, and Polt is one of the most powerful Terran players in Korea right now. He's enjoyed much more success inside South Korea. He's in Code S. He's an extremely talented Terran, and unfortunately for Hero, his best matchup is against Protoss, and that is at a staggering 68% win rate. So best matchup versus worst matchup here, and just to add insult to injury, Antigua Shipyard historically not a map that favors Protoss very much at all. It's actually a 40% win rate total for Protoss historically, so that is not very, very good at all, and Hero's gonna have his work cut out for him here. Let's see what kind of build he's opening up with. He's got a Nexus coming out after the gas and the core, so pretty common opening there. The SCV from Polt just trying to get around the base to discover and find out any other additional information inside of Polt's main. It looks like we do have 2 additional barracks on the way, so most likely going to have our Korean Terran here going for the more common bio build, which is what Terrans usually do against Protoss these days, and they've always done pretty much all throughout time, except for Brood War, which was way back in the caveman days. There has been a resurgence of mech recently, and I've talked to my co-caster P-User a little bit about this before, and he agrees that a lot of Terrans now are starting to do this kind of pseudo-mech build where they get mech and banshees, and they go for a huge mech banshee timing push against Protoss. It's not the 1-1-1 all-in, it's actually off of an expansion. So it is kind of interesting, but I don't think we're going to see Polt go for any kind of a mech build, which would be really cool to see, but we're not going to see that here, as he's got so many barracks down already that I would imagine he's going to try to pump out mass Marines here and just go for a straight up biological build of Marines and maybe some Marauders in there over time as well. So both players cross-spawn here. They're just kind of building up their forces right now. Remember, guys, there's only 1 slot remaining left in the semifinals. Whoever wins here will go on to join the ranks of Stefano, of Puma, and of Lucky, 2 Koreans and 1 European, and of course will be a 3rd Korean filling the ranks here, as both these players are Korean. Now, Polt is walling this off pretty nicely. I like what he's doing with the bunker, and the supply depots. Only 1 bunker, though, which is kind of risky, but he's got plenty of production on the barracks, so I guess he feels comfortable enough with 3 barracks' worth of production to keep this front wall secure. He's also walling it off, and now moving out with his Marines as well. Doesn't have stim, actually doesn't have any upgrades at all, but just the raw number of Marines that he's currently fielding on the map right now is providing so much firepower that he's able to repel the Zealot and the Stalker, and Hero's still being very heroic, no pun intended, on that Stalker, trying to really eke out as much damage as he possibly can. And, you know, where lesser Protoss players would have just said, screw it, I'm not going to try to fight 10 plus Marines with a single Stalker. But he did, and now he's actually erecting a bunch of proxy pylons. Interesting. How many gates is he working off here? 4 gates with a forge on the way. This is a very intriguing build. He hasn't really utilized that gas much at all, so I'd imagine he's going to use whatever gas he's got saved up to make a bunch of sentries, and we can see 4 sentries on the field. So much of his gas has been invested in sentries, and it looks like he's going for some kind of a timing play with 4 gates. The comsat goes down, doesn't see anything at the front door. Gotta be a little intriguing here for our Terran player Polt, and Polt has walled off everything, but this is where that only a single bunker may actually be his undoing. Only 1 bunker is extremely dangerous. Thankfully, he does have a supply depot wall up here, and that will help keep the Protoss at bay, but I would feel so much more comfortable if I were Polt if he just made a couple more bunkers in the back, maybe 1 here and 1 here, just in case. But thankfully, it looks like Hero, if you're the Terran player here, it looks like Hero isn't planning. Nope, here we go, making more Zealots. So Hero is planning to make this attack count. He's going to try to do a ton of damage with this. He's also making a Twilight Council, which is very intriguing. I guess he's going to try to go into Charge Lot Archon or of some sort here, as he is upgrading the armor first. Armor before weapons. And so I would most definitely feel like he's going for Charge Out Archon here, because if you think about it, the armor upgrade for Protoss, when they get that against Terran first and they get the Guardian Shield activated from the sentries, they can reduce so much damage from the Marines and the Marauders, mostly the Marines of course, if they keep under the Guardian Shield and they get those armor upgrades. It's extremely effective, and it's a great way to combat the biological build. Now, on top of that, the Templar Archives we see coming up right here is also going to be another great way for Hero to fight off the Bio Army. You guys know that Storms just absolutely murder Marines, so there's going to be a lot of things going well here for Hero, but unfortunately for now, he's giving up the map control. He's going to give it up to Polt, who's moving out across the map, timed up with Stim Pack and Combat Shields. Combat Shields is on the way, actually, about to finish, but he's going to have a huge push on his hands here. No +1 weapons, but nevertheless, it can do a lot of damage. Also love how Polt is bringing the factory over, because you know in the bio build you don't really need that factory, so you use it to fly around and scout potential areas, and he's checking the high ground here, doesn't see anything of threat. He's going to break down the rocks. That opens up another avenue to attack into the third if he ever needs to, and the Solo Marine here may actually just delay that Nexus as well with the probe already there. So yeah, that probe is in trouble, and it's probably going to go down, and there it is. Meanwhile, a little bit of back and forth action at the front door as the main bio army is trying to figure out a way if they can come up the ramp, but with the force fields and the Archons and the charge lots already here, that looks increasingly unlikely, and Polt is probably going to have to pull back for now. At the very least though, he's got map control, he has the ability to attack into the third, he even delayed the Nexus with the Marine just chilling there, and now it's a good time for Polt to go ahead and tech up into the final tier of technology for the bio build that is going to help him combat Charge Out Archon, and that really is the Ghost. We can see the Ghost Academy is now down and is beginning to research the Mobius Reactor. That's another 25 starting energy for the Ghost when they come out, which helps him EMP. It helps him stay in Cloak longer. If he chooses to get the Cloak upgrade, that Zealot gets picked off as the Nexus is coming down. And we can just see both players really trying to do a little bit of tug and war, a little bit of back and forth right now as they try to figure out where is best to engage. But really, the onus here is on Hero to secure the third expansion, because that bio army is in the center of the map right now, and Polt has pretty much predominant map control. So Hero really is going to have to figure out a way, I think, to not only secure the third, maybe wall this off with some gateways a la PVZ, but also to get control of the center of the map. And he's almost about to kill off this factory here. That's going to help a little bit. Archons and Sentries going to work, and the factory is now on fire. Polt brings his bio army around to keep it alive, and let's see if he repairs it or not. Meanwhile, over at the third, Polt has secured his own expansion, and both players now almost soon to be operating off of 3 bases, so it's a very close game. The Protoss just down in supply, barely, and here we go! Hero actually charged in with about half of his zealots, so the charge is on cooldown. That would have been an opportunity if Polt wanted to attack, I suppose, but look at the sheer number of zealots on the ground. My god, that's all about 20 or so zealots, maybe more, all with +2 armor, all with Guardian Shield. They've got 4 armor total, and the Marines only have 7 damage with a +1 weapon, so they're only going to do 3 damage a shot to the zealots. And that's not going to be very effective at all, and Polt knows that. He's got to get some ghosts out to help weather the shield or wither the shields down, and then he can have a chance. And on top of that, of course, EMP Shockwave is going to be able to combat the Templars very well as well as Snipe. The ghosts are just such a hard unit to have in the Terran army. They're actually quite beefy. They don't die very easily. So both sides actually just not really choosing to engage quite yet, supposedly going to wait until they're maxed out, which isn't a bad strategy at all, especially on a cross-map spawn of Antigua Shipyard. We can see the Terran player nearing max, the Protoss player right on his heels. A couple of medevacs on the way, actually, on the left-hand side of Antigua here, and they may try to go for a drop into the main, but Hero's already got a Templar out there waiting, and he does have enough energy for a double feedback. The 2 medevacs are not full on energy, though, so one feedback will not kill them. The medevac actually needs to have at least 150 energy for the kill, and here we go. Wow, Hero's reaction timing right on point right there. That was really, really nice, and we can see the feedbacks going down, but the medevacs do not get destroyed. But the thing is, it scares Polt enough, and if he doesn't have energy on the medevacs, and he can't really heal his drop force, so he has to kind of unload there and wait and let them recuperate energy and health before he can really do anything. And he's actually going to go ahead and stint and pick off a potential Nexus. The Nexus did not go down, but he kills off the pylon. Meanwhile, Hero has controlled the center of the map, so Hero now in control of this game. I feel like he has the top high ground, and it looks like Polt is just looking to circumvent that by going around the bottom left. Drops a comsat, he sees the Protoss army. Both these guys know eventually there's going to be a massive engagement, and there's going to be a lot of blood spilled, there's going to be a lot of zealots going up to Ire, a lot of stalkers becoming whatever they become next, and one side is going to win this out. We'll have to see. The Ghosts are going to try to take the initiative here by getting a couple of snipes off. They did snipe out a Templar. There is a Colossus. There's 2 Colossi on the field too. Great switch from Hero, and this is what a lot of Protoss will do. They'll try to trick the Terran, go into Charge Out Archon initially, and then switch into Colossi, and that really puts the Terran off point, because they've then got to start to invest into Vikings and reactor starports, and if they don't have enough Vikings out, then the Colossus will shred the Marines. And here we go. Hero's actually going to engage here. Some of his charge shots going in, but I think Polt has the high ground, and that's not a position Hero really wants to fight at, so he spreads out his Protoss army, but it looks like there's a Terran contingency on the left looking to engage here, and I really feel like Polt's got the better engagement point here. He's closing in from all sides. He launches a couple of snipes off. All of his ghosts are cloaked, and I don't like the position from Hero at all, but he force fields the Terran army in half, and that is going to give him an edge, but the EMP Shockwave comes out from Polt. And will Polt be able to clean up or not? It looks like he's going to be able to go around the force fields as they wear off, and Polt's army trading magnificently with Heroes. But I think that Polt has to pull back here. The reinforcements coming out of the warp gates are just too much for him to handle, and now he pulls back with all of his medevacs intact. Most of his army, of course, getting blown to smithereens. But he's still got Ghosts here. Oh my god, the Ghosts actually cloaked. There is no observer for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, and these 4 Ghosts are just going to have a heyday. They're going to kill off 5, 7 kills, 8 kills, and 3 kills, so quite a bit of kills on those Ghosts, and we can see that actually helped Polt win the battle in the center. Those Cloak Ghosts absolutely tearing apart everything, and I wonder where the Colossi went, because at the end of that last battle, I thought for sure there was still some Colossus remaining on the middle, but it seems like most of them ended up dying, so that was a little interesting. We have a Warp Prism coming in here from Hero. He's looking to make a drop happen. It's a bit unfortunate, really, for Hero that he lost most of his army to those Cloaked Ghosts, because now all of a sudden I feel like Polt is at an advantage, and he is going to take that advantage and capitalize on it. Runs into the third, but there's a huge Archon Zealot ball ready and waiting, but there might not be enough. I think Polt can actually outrun and actually outkill this army with just the sheer DPS he's got. And a couple of Zealots warping in here, but it will not be enough. Polt just has way too much bio and too many medevacs healing the bio underneath. So the Vikings even landing as well. What a storm though! Hero gets a brilliant storm off. If he can get a couple more storms down, he may have a shot. The Colossus also coming in here, but as immediately as the Colossus comes in, the Vikings lift off and they pick off that first Colossus and second Colossus coming in here. Just an absolute back and forth game. I still can't tell who's going to win this battle, but it really looks like Polt has a bigger supply advantage, and he continues to stream in reinforcements. What a game! I think Polt, though, is on the verge of taking down this third Nexus, and he just outran Hero's economy, man. He's just got so much stored up. He's got the gold mining that, oh, not the gold, excuse me, just a normal blue now, but he's got the center expansion mining, so that's one extra base over Hero, and that really just made all the difference. And now he just took out the Nexus. Just an absolute war of attrition between the Terran and the Protoss. And it looks like Polt really is going to be able to take this game at this point. I'm not too sure what our Protoss can do. He's got really not much left. Working off of 2 robotics facilities, he can make a lot of Colossi, but I don't even know if he can afford to. Look at the resource difference banked up. Almost 3,000 minerals and almost 2,000 gas for Polt. Really nothing for Hero. Hero is running on fumes now. He's got nothing, and just a center set micro here from Polt should be able to outdo Hero. A storm comes down, really whiffs though, and we're just moments away from seeing Polt claim the first victory in this last and final round of 8, and take one step closer to joining the ranks of Stefano, Puma, and Lucky in the semifinals of Assembly Winter ASUS ROG. So we're just waiting now to see the GG out of Hero. I'm surprised he hasn't quite yet. There's a landed party of Vikings now over to the top right, and I guess this was Hero's last bastion, if you will. But he realized that's gonna go down, and he GG'd as his final Immortal died. So hope you guys enjoyed this cast. That's the first game out of 3. We're gonna have the next game coming up following this, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. This is HD signing out.